I'm recording.
Perfecto. Yeah,
There's my voice
me too.
being picked up. Da 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 da
Pa
da
pa pa
da
pa.
da ba da ba da yabba dabba doo. Right, should we start?
Yeah, I guess you don't want to speak to your friend, so that's fine. Let's start.
I do, but I thought we were.
That's fine. Just this is all business. No pleasure. Go. Start.
Well,
Start.
it's all a pleasure. That's the point of it.
I know, but maybe sometimes I just want to talk to my friend.
About Instagram posts for the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Should we start?
I'll follow you, man.
Oh my god, this isn't gonna work.
Yes, we can start. I'm joking. I'm just being silly.
Click
on
okay.
this.
Did you say suck on this then?
I said click on this.
All right.
Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. It's called Culture Bucket. Two friends just made a podcast. Two good friends just made a podcast. Two friends just made a podcast. Culture Bucket, George and Alex.
Okay. Hi everyone. Welcome back to Culture Bucket, episode number 34. It's a pleasure to have you back with us for a slightly different episode, a special episode, an experimental episode that we're going to start hopefully doing once a month or so, where we're going to highlight a significant piece of pop culture from the current year. And this week, we're kicking off by having a chat about the recent Best Picture Oscar winner, Nomadland.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2020's Nomadland, directed by Chloe Zhao, starring Frances McDormand, David Strathairn, and a variety of other real people. And yeah, available now on Disney Plus in most places, I think. So get it watched. It's going to be a full-on break. Well, I don't know what it's going to be necessarily, but it's going to be a spoiler-filled. I don't know if you could spoil this movie, to be fair.
You can
but,
definitely. I don't think you can spoil this movie.
But we're going to be discussing the movie as if you've seen it or don't care knowing everything about it. So if you want to go and watch it first, feel free. If you just want to live vicariously through us, that's fine. You do that. You do you. I'm, by the way, my name is George, and with me is I'm your host. You know the drill. I'm your host. I do the bit where I explain what's happening at the start of the episode, and then I introduce my co-host, who's with me, not physically because of the pandemic, and they live in a different country, but is with me in spirit and over the internet. My co-host, the co-host with the most, the Italian stallion, it's Alex.
Hi, George. Hi, everyone. That was an intro and a half. Thank you for calling me a stallion. I haven't been called a stallion for a while.
Or are you a mare?
No, definitely not a mare. That's
You're a right mare.
No, you're. Yeah, I forgot about because in England, a lot of people call me an Italian stallion, but because I'm in Italy,
it would be weird.
It was like un stallone italiano. It doesn't sound the same, does it?
So did they just call you a stallion?
Stallone, yeah. Oh, Alex, sei un grande stallone.
Nice. Grazie.
Prego. Prego. Now that you watch all the gialli, you should speak Italian, no?
No, because they're in English.
Oh, okay.
That's like, they're a weird thing, the gialli. Like, the way they filmed them was that, like, each actor would just speak in their native language.
Yeah.
They would have actors from all over the world in them. Yeah. Everyone would speak in their native language, and the whole thing would be dubbed later. So there's like no way to watch a giallo movie in like a language that's the original language of the film, almost.
That is terrible. But never
I kind of
mind.
love it. I love it. I
But
think it's great.
oh, how are you,
Anyway, we're not here
George?
to talk about Jello movies.
Let's talk
We're here
about
to talk
you.
about me. I'm good. I'm great. I'm great. I'm excited to do this little experiment. I hope people stick with us and check it out. How are you?
I'm great. It's finally hot summertime. I'm excited to talk about this film because I think it's great. And if people haven't left us after the discussion of Zack Snyder's The Justice League,
Mm-hmm.
then nobody's ever going to leave us.
Well, hopefully that's true. We'll find out. So you've dropped a hot. I don't know. You've revealed your opinion on the film there. Do you want to dive in a bit further?
Oh, no. I just said that I'm excited of talking about this film. I didn't
'Cause
say
it's
if I
great.
liked it or not.
You said because it's great.
Oh, no. Rewind.
No,
Rewind.
it's absolutely fine.
Rewind.
What did you? How did you? What should we do? Let's set up the plot of Nomadland first. Yeah.
Let's set the plot. And who better to do than the eloquent George?
Nomadland is a 2020 motion picture film, American, written and directed by Chloe Zhao, a up and coming filmmaker. She's made previously a movie called The Rider, which I haven't seen, and a couple other things. In the future, she'll be well known for directing Eternals, an upcoming Marvel movie, which is interesting. Let's see, it stars Frances McDormand as one of Alex's favourite actors, by the way,
Yeah.
as Fern, a lady. And the only other significant actor in the movie is David Strathairn,
Yeah.
who is a great actor. I love him whenever he turns up in stuff. Good Night and Good Luck is his big showpiece. If anyone watches this movie and would like a bit more David Strathairn, go and check out Good Night, Good Luck. It's a cool George Clooney directed sort of Cold War drama. And then the rest of the cast is pretty much made up of ordinary people using their real names, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It tells the tale of Fern, a woman who lives in a town in America called Empire, which is almost like a fake town that exists solely to house the employees of a mining company. The mining company, this is a true story, the mining company shut down the mine and ended up closing the town. Fern's husband sadly passed away, so she decided to sell everything she has, buy a van, and live in her van as a modern day nomad. The film was inspired by a book called Nomadland Surviving in America in the 21st Century by a journalist called Jessica Bruder. And it was released in 2020 to incredible reviews and built up a lot of steam ahead of finally winning the kind of big hat trick, I guess, of awards for Best Acting, or Best Actress, Best Director, and Best Picture at the recent Academy Awards. And then it was popped right onto Disney Plus so that anyone with an account could enjoy it. And that's what Alex and I did. Alex, what did you think of Nomadland?
Where to start? What did I think about Nomadland? Well, let's start with Frances McDormand. She is amazing. She's the actor of everything. What I loved about her in this film is just how great she is at at expressing feelings because she's acting with real people, and I think that could be quite difficult.
Definitely.
But because it's kind of unexpected. Bob Wells didn't actually know she was an actress.
Bob Wells, the famous Nomad YouTuber who founded the annual gathering. Yeah,
There's a
didn't know that she was an
scene.
actor.
Yeah, there's a scene they have together, and it was a beautiful scene, and it's just how she can just be amazing and portray something that she takes the character into life, and she because she was acting with like ordinary people, it felt like she was learning from them and in kind of awe of them. I felt like she was helping them to be great in their portrayal. I
Yes, I
feel
think
like she was carrying them and making, and that's how amazing artist she is. That
yeah,
she
I've been
was.
watching. Oh,
Sorry,
that's all right. Sorry,
I was in the middle of a passionate moment, George. But yeah, I've just felt like she was carrying them and making them great and making them amazing and making them act amazing. You
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've been watching a lot of Sopranos recently, as we've mentioned on the podcast,
Mm.
and I heard somebody say about James Gandolfini that he is so good as Tony Soprano that the other actors in the show are better in scenes where they're with Tony than in scenes where they're on their
Mm.
own, because he elevates their performances. And yeah, you're exactly right with Frances McDormand does the same in this movie with
Yeah.
the kind of non-professionals that she spends time with in the film and acts around. And it is a really, because if you look at, say, for example, who won Best Actor last year, Joaquin Phoenix in Joker, that's a really good performance, but it's a very I guess you'd maybe say showy performance. So it's like a big
Mm.
performance. It's all
Yeah.
like on over the surface, like you can see what he's doing. It's very loud and big, and he does it really well. But there's a big challenge for Frances McDormand in this movie in that her character Fern is incredibly reserved, keeps everything under the surface. All her emotions are kind of
Yeah.
hidden, and everything that happens to Fern and everything that she feels is kept internal, and it's a challenge for Frances McDormand to bring the audience in, help them to understand and love the character, while also sticking to the truth of that character, which is that they are not big on sharing or big on talking. It's a very quiet and small performance, but she does it so perfectly and so well that obviously she has been correctly rewarded for it, or
Yeah. And she
received
won
the
another
accolades.
Oscar, of course.
Yep, now second
Because
only to Katharine Hepburn.
amazing, like amazing. And yeah, so Frances McDormand is amazing. My first film that I watched with, directed by Chloe Zhao. As a director, I think she's amazing. um,
Yeah.
Everything is so. What I loved about this film and what they did is I feel like it's like a collective work together to create a film. It wasn't like the director telling. It looked like something that they cooperated together to make the film. In fact, I think Frances McDormand sought Chloe Zhao to direct the film. And so Frances McDormand had the book, got the rights to make a film, and then she sought Chloe Zhao. And the way that everything is shot is beautiful. The scenery is amazing. It shows the extremes in the United States, from extremely cold, where she lives at the beginning of Empire, and then to the desert. And she's a beautiful director. I think there's a scene that I really loved where they're the Bob Wells gathering in the desert, and she's just walking. Frances McDormand is just walking, and Chloe Zhao is following her with a camera, or whoever holds the camera, but like that would be a direction, and everybody's
Yeah.
saying hello to Fern, and it's just such a natural, beautiful moment that it just. And sometimes the camera goes in front of Fern, sometimes it's at the back, sometimes it back. She's always in this shot regardless of where the camera is, and it's just
Yeah.
beautiful. And that moment, I just realized I already thought it was a beautiful film, but just the simplicity of that shot, it just showed how her being in a desert with nothing, how happy it could make you finding a community like that. And it was just, for me, it's just beautiful, and all the how the film is shot is like a docu film.
Mm.
It's like kind of real but not, but it blends in perfectly well, and I
Yeah.
think that's probably very difficult to do, and
Yeah.
they did it.
Yeah. And I like how in that scene you just mentioned and in other scenes in the film, it it allows characters to be and it allows to show the kindness of people,
Mm,
which is almost a rarity in cinema. Like there's a scene early on where Francis McDormand, well, Fern is parking overnight in like the car park of a petrol
mm,
station or something. It looks like,
yeah,
and the owner comes up to her and knocks on, and you expect in most films that would be somebody saying, "No, you can't park here overnight. You need to
yeah,
move." But in this film, she's like, "No, no, you can park here overnight, but it's going to be really cold. You sure you're going to be okay?" And he's checking up on her and being nice.
yeah.
And a lot of films would like, or a lot of filmmakers would maybe end up cutting that scene out, not showing it
Mm,
because it doesn't necessarily move the plot on so much, but it does help build the world and show that, I think partly why people choose to live life this way is you sort of encounter people and you can see that most people really are kind hearted and good people, or at least you hope that they are. And the film shows people supporting each other, being kind to each other. I thought at one point, instead of being called, this is a good one, you'll like this. Instead of being called Nomadland, yeah,
yeah.
it could have been called Everybody Loves Fern. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
because everybody does love Fern,
yeah. But
especially
everybody loves
David.
everyone in that film.
Oh yeah, but
There's
David really
very
loves Fern.
little negativity in that film.
Yeah, yeah, which is great. And you have people have, and it's people who have experienced some of the most difficult events that you can have. Like people start living life this way because they've decided to turn away from normal society, usually because they've experienced a tragedy or something difficult.
Yeah,
Bob Wells talks about the sad loss of his son near
yeah,
the end of the movie. Frances McDormand's character obviously has lost her husband.
yeah,
Um, Charlene, what's her name? The lady. There's a lady who's very sick and has decided that she's going to
yeah.
spend her last years, seeing the world and seeing America instead of, being in a hospital. And she's very good in it. I can't remember her name, and I'm annoyed at myself.
Swanky.
Yeah, Swanky. She describes there's a great part early on where she describes I think it's her, or it could be the other lady, describes seeing is it swallows or birds
Mm, yeah,
nesting next to a lake and flying out all over it, and it's just this nice little scene. And then later on near the end of the movie, Fern receives a video on her phone, and it's of that scene, and you get to see it. And I think like the implication I took from it is that Swanky had gone back there and seen it again, and had filmed it to share with Fern. Although what I like about the film as well is that it never kind of over explains to you what's going on. It just gives you the feeling of an event without really, it doesn't.
mm,
You don't see a phone screen pop up and go, "Hi, Fern, it's me. Do you remember me? Here's a video of
yeah.
that thing I was showing." You just see Francis McDormand watching the video, and the music and everything just creates a feeling that you connect with more so than if you were just having it like explained to you. So I like that a lot about it. Um, I like that as you were talking about Chloe Zhao and her
Mm,
direction. I feel like she photographs nature perfectly.
mm, yeah,
At the start of the movie, when it's like winter, it's sort of Christmas time, Thanksgiving time, or not think that's or New Year's Eve time, you really can tell how cold it is. Like it
yeah,
feels cold just watching those scenes and watching the landscape she shoots. And then the transition where she goes to the gathering in the summer and it cuts and suddenly in like a desert, it just
yeah.
suddenly feels warmer.
Mm,
It's incredible how well she's done it. And I was reading an interview with Kevin Feige, the big man at Marvel who produces all of those films, and he was talking about how Chloe Zhao for Eternals has been trying to find a lot of real life locations to shoot in, rather than creating sets in CGI green screen and stuff. And how incredible it is to see some of the nature photography she's prepared for that movie and know that there's no CGI involved. So it's obviously kind of a signature move. and it's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see? There's a scene with a cinema, and
Oh, it was
there's
showing Avengers.
Avengers. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like to show what year it is without
Yeah.
telling the year, but also to kind of, she's also directing a Marvel film,
Yeah.
and that's quite. She did it in a really nice, natural way, and I think that's what this film is. Everything happens in a very natural way. You don't necessarily know things, you don't necessarily find out about things, but it's just there and it happens. And it doesn't say Fern has lost her house or she voluntarily decided to leave, because there's still some people living in Empire, but it doesn't
Yeah.
explain that. And it doesn't, it's just very natural film.
Oh, there's still people living in Empire. I got the impression it was a
Yeah.
ghost town.
I think there's about 200 people living in Empire now. Another company has bought it, but I might be wrong. I was reading about it, and just reading about it kind of made me a little bit sad that people like lost their community like that because a company went bust.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
A grim look into a possible future.
Hey,
I just, a
okay.
grim look into a possible. What if we end up in a world where everything is owned by companies, and then every time a company goes bust, we all lose our houses? What if that happens? That could happen.
Yeah, yeah. We're already owned by companies, George.
There you go. A
but
grim
they
look
don't know
into a possible future. Then that was a good
Yeah.
comment, and you just
Yeah. Sorry, I just did.
steamrolled it as if
I was like, what? Those are
Ah.
too many words at once. Sorry. What I also liked, and talking about how natural things happen, is it shows like a social realism in America, but without condemning it, but without saying it's good. It's just, it shows it. And how people struggle with maybe there's a scene where Fern goes and sees her sister for money, and she talks to this I think he's an estate agent in America. They're called realtors. Realtors.
I'm a realtor.
Realtors. And she says, you're selling people things they can't afford, because you can't afford a house, because it's not even like it's 10 times what you're going to earn, and you have like 30-year mortgages, and
Yeah.
it kind of shows how do we consider that normal now, that you can just buy a house. Well, you have to buy a house, and you feel fulfilled to buy a house that you can't even afford.
Yeah.
I thought that was like there are bits like that throughout the film that kind of shows, what was the point.
That's the most animated she ever gets in the film as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Probably that sequence where she's
Yeah.
back home with her sister.
Yeah.
Because she's her van has bust. That's quite an interesting bit as well, where she goes to take her van in to be repaired, and they're just like, "You should just sell this and get a new one." And she's like, "No, people don't understand.
Yeah.
No, it's my home. I live in it."
Yeah.
And she's a bit short with them because they obviously just don't really appreciate what she's doing, like how she's trying to live her life.
And the fact that she made every piece in that van hers, and
Yeah.
she created the van. It just gives you this film just gives you a sense of freedom, of also how you could live your life without being stuck and still be happy. Because I think we're taught that we need to settle down and find a house and buy it and do things a certain way, but not necessarily. And I think that was it's a good film to watch now as well. When yeah.
It's interesting connection with that. Early on, she shows someone not Swanky, the lady. Is it Linda that she's sort of friendly
Linda May,
with?
yeah.
Yeah, she shows her this plate that she's got that I think was her dad's plate. And she's obviously still sort of holding on to. She's trying to act like this nomad and live this nomadic life, but she's obviously quite new to it still, and she's still very connected to a couple of material like possessions. And then later on in the film, ages after that, and you've forgotten about that plate completely out of nowhere, it gets smashed because of Dave being an idiot. Just
Trying to help.
it's a bizarre bit. He just seems to like drag it out the van and fling it onto the ground, and then he's like, "I was trying to help." Um, but then
Go
again,
over
it's a
there.
real yeah. But it's a testament to her performance again that she doesn't like go, "Oh, this was my dad's plate, and now you've smashed it," and like she kind of shortly tells him to move away, and then you just see her sort of picking up the pieces of this plate, and then she glues it together, and she's obviously still not quite ready to sort of say goodbye to things. And then that's sort of her journey in the movie, is that by the end she kind of empties that lockup
Yeah.
and gets rid of all the bits and pieces, and seems to commit further to living the nomadic life, which is interesting because it could have gone the other way. It could have been more of a sort of, because she gets given two. There are 2 points in the movie where she gets a very clear out, where she could leave and either
Yeah.
go back with her sister and go
Yeah.
to her family, or potentially follow up with Dave and see where that would lead. But she chooses neither of those. Chooses to continue living that life. What do you think about that?
As soon as she was in the house, I felt like she was feeling uncomfortable. When
Yeah,
she so Dave's son goes to visit him and tells him he's going to have a baby and Dave is going to be a grandfather. That's actually I can't say his name, the actor's
David
name. What's his name?
Strathairn's son.
Yes, that's actually
Yeah,
his son.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so Dave goes to see his grandson, and then he says to Fern that she can go and visit anytime. And when she goes and visits, she clearly doesn't feel like she she clearly feels kind of uncomfortable in there,
Mm,
although she's happy to be there, and I think there's the food and everything, and but there's a moment where she feels trapped, and I'm not going to say what happens, but she feels clearly trapped.
well,
And
what does happen? Because I don't remember what bit you mean.
oh, okay, well, I'm going to spoil it. Like, she doesn't
We said
sleep in her
we said we were
bed.
going to spoil it.
Okay, so she doesn't sleep in her bed, and she goes and sleep in the van, and
Right.
she clearly feels that that's not where she wants to be, and she's always then you find out that she's always liked open spaces, and even when she lived in Empire, she her house looked over the desert and the mountains, and she had
Yeah.
and so you kind of figure out also that she needs the space, she needs to be out, and she needs the freedom. And she's very
Mm,
disappointed when she sees um Dave's van, and the wheel of the van is bust, and she knows, well, that's a sign that he's not going to move for a while, and he's quite
yeah.
happy to
Yeah.
be there.
Yeah. It's
Which,
interesting because when does she go to her sister's first, and then she goes to Dave?
yeah,
Because when
yeah,
she's at her sister's, she also has she's given an opportunity to get out, but it seems like more of a hostile environment. They're sort
mm,
of judging her. She's getting into arguments with the people that just don't understand her lifestyle.
yeah,
So you can see why she doesn't leave there and she goes back to the nomadic lifestyle. But then when she goes to see Dave, there's more of a, everyone there is nice to her, everyone's really
yeah,
welcoming, nobody's judging her. Dave clearly really, really likes her and enjoys
yeah,
spending time with her. And it's interesting at that point though, where she really has to, like you said, she really probably is tempted at that point and really is thinking about it, but then it's that sort of nighttime and she realizes she can't sleep in that bed. She needs to be
yeah,
out in her van, that she goes
yeah,
back to it.
yeah. And I don't know, just that film just gives you such, like, although the difficulties of living in a van, there's also the freedom of not having anything and not losing anything.
What do you think of it? So what do you think of it winning all those awards? Do you think it was worthy of
Yeah.
best
Uh
picture, best?
yeah, absolutely. I thought I just think it's amazing how it's shot, how it's performed, how when you watch a film and you know that everybody doing this film seems to be quite happy to be in the film because they're giving their best.
Mm,
That's what the film seemed, and I enjoyed. I like the fact that that it portrays a real aspect of America, real people, but still having beautiful cinematography, beautiful.
Mm.
It's just amazingly done,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just a story about a nomad and the nomad community in America, and it could have been done in other ways, but it's been done in the most beautiful, empathic.
Mm.
Is that a word? Empathic?
I think so. Empathic. Yeah, I think it is.
Because sometimes you kind of get stuck, in things where you only see the bad things. But I feel like in this film, you also, it shows no, there are good people, and probably more than the bad people.
Did you find
um
it slow at all, or was the pace good?
no, I thought I really like when at the end I was in awe. I want to watch it again soon, because I was in awe of everything about it. I don't know. I just what did how did you feel? Did you feel it was like, because I like my slices of life. I like my slow
Yeah.
films. I like
Yeah.
my reality. I like that, because I think, and so I don't. For me, it was a perfect film. But I don't know. What did you think?
I liked it. It wasn't a perfect film for me. It's definitely not the kind of film I watch as often as you, in
Mm.
terms of a slice of life kind of like thing. I did struggle a little bit with the pacing, but it wasn't overly long. It's about an hour and 40 minutes, I think,
Yeah,
which is probably about the right length.
yeah.
I think definitely Francis McDormand's performance elevates it. In terms of like the awards it won and things, it's a weird year for the Oscars where, because of everything that's happened, I've not actually been able to watch many of the films that were nominated. So like it was up against The Father, which I haven't seen, but I'd like to see. You
Yeah.
know The Father?
No.
It's Anthony Hopkins playing a man who's
Ah, yeah.
suffering from Alzheimer's or dementia. Judas and the Black Messiah, which I really want to watch but haven't
Yeah,
watched.
definitely.
Mank, which I don't really want to watch, so I haven't watched.
What I
Mank is the David Fincher movie about the guy who wrote the script for Citizen Kane.
Okay.
It's a
Well,
Netflix film. It is meant to be really good, but it
okay.
looks. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not running out to see it. Minari, which I really want to see
Yeah.
but haven't watched yet. Promising Young Woman, which I have seen, and I don't, that would be my choice probably for best picture.
Okay.
But uh, this is the weird thing about the Oscars as well, because under no other circumstances would you ever imagine to compare Promising Young Woman with Nomadland. They're very different films. And
Mm.
then Sound of Metal, which I'm hoping to see soon, but I haven't watched yet, and The Trial of Chicago 7, which you've seen but I haven't seen. You'd rate this higher than that?
Would I? No, no, not at all. No,
No.
no.
Okay, interesting. Good. So they got, because sometimes they get it wrong, but we're saying broadly they probably got it right with this one. A
Yeah.
good
But
choice.
the Oscars this year were amazing. Like, this was the third person and first woman, Chloe Zhao, to be nominated for best director, best screenplay, best picture, and best film editing.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, it's
amazing.
impressive. First time ever that two women were nominated for Best Director in the same year.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Finally.
Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. First woman of colour to win Best Director.
Yeah.
First Chinese person to win Best Director. Controversially, because China would disagree. But do you know about that?
No. What? Because,
So,
well, they're not happy, China.
well, yeah, but also Ang Lee has won
Anglia, yeah.
Best Director, but like the rest of the world, and I think Ang Lee considers him to be Taiwanese, not Chinese. But
That, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
China would claim that she's the second Chinese person to win Best Director, but she's the first.
Yeah.
So a year of firsts and a year of like positive steps forward for representation, and
Yeah, because
just
also there were two directors of East Asian descent as well.
yeah, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari,
Yeah.
Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
I'd like to see
amazing.
Minari. It got so many nominations. Best Supporting Actress went to Minari, didn't it? For
Yeah.
Yun Yu Jung Minat. Yeah, which is pretty good stuff. So yeah, who was Frances McDormand up against then? Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. You've seen that?
Yeah, she was great in that film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andra Day, The United States versus Billie Holiday. I haven't seen that. Vanessa Kirby, Pieces of a Woman. I don't know.
No.
I've heard that. Carrie Mulligan, Promising Young Woman. I'd probably give in that. So I've only seen Promising Young Woman and Nomadland out of those, but I'd probably give Frances McDormand the Best Actress Oscar out of those. Although Carrie Mulligan is very good in Promising Young Woman. We'll hopefully talk about that at some point in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, positive times at the Oscars, which is good. I think so. Overall, this film, let's rate it out of 5 caravans. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it 5 out of 5 caravans.
Nice.
Hmm.
I'm going to give it 4 caravans and 1 hatchback.
Great.
Yeah. So it's pretty. It's
Yeah.
up there. It's definitely a strong movie. Let's start to wrap up on what do you think? Because obviously you've talked before about Frances McDormand being one of your favorite actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's now won 3 Oscars for Best Lead Actor or Last
Yeah.
Lead Actress, beating out even Meryl Streep, who has 3 Oscars but one's for supporting.
Yeah.
Frances has 3 lead actor gongs. How would you rank those 3 performances?
So she got an Oscar for Nomadland,
Mm-hmm.
3 Billboards Outside
Yep.
Ebbing, Missouri, and
Fargo.
Fargo. So, the thing is, they're 3 completely different performances.
Yep, shows how good she is.
She has got an amazing range. So in Fargo, she's funny. She's got this crazy accent. She's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and then the 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, she's like angry mum that has had her daughter like murdered, and she's trying to find the person, and she's angry, and she'll do anything to find the person.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, she's a loving, trying to find herself nomad. Like, she doesn't even seem like the same people. That's how amazing she is.
Yeah, especially, she seems like a different person in each film, particularly in Fargo.
Yeah.
She's so different. She's so much. I don't know. They're all very
I
different.
would
Because she's so
say
angry in 3 Billboards.
she's so angry, and and Nomadland is totally the opposite. But
Mhm.
because she's one of the best actors of all time, and she could just sit on her laurel and just do whatever, but this is her art, her job. So I feel maybe she deserves the Oscar probably for Nomadland the most, because of what her performance brought out of other people.
Okay.
So she carried the film, totally carried the film.
So you're putting Nomadland at number 1?
Yeah. Number 2, probably Fargo. And number 3, 3 Billboards.
Interesting.
3 Billboards. Yeah. Yeah. Because I was
Nice.
surprised when she won the Oscar for 3 Billboards. Not that she wasn't great. She was great. But it was such an angry... It's not a performance that you usually would win an Oscar for, in a way. It wasn't like groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's an interesting
Like, I feel the film was amazing and groundbreaking. And maybe, did it win Best Picture, the film?
Oh, I don't know. Don't remember. Let me check. I think it just won for actress, sorry, and supporting actor for Sam Rockwell.
Mm.
The Shape of Water.
Oh, I would like to watch that film. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, it's a masterpiece.
Okay. So, yeah, not taking that away from Frances McDormand, she's amazing in it, but I think it would be Nomadland, Fargo, and Three Billboards. What
Interesting.
about you?
Well, I'd flip it a little bit because I love her in Fargo so much. And it's just such a. I think the incredible thing with Fargo is she comes into that movie half an hour in, maybe, or
Yeah,
even after that.
yeah.
But she's
Mm.
still, as soon as she arrives, the film starts to revolve. Like she controls the film in a way that is so
Mm.
impressive for someone that you've not been with for half an hour, and then suddenly, as soon as she turns up, you want to spend more time with her, and you see a lot of the rest of the film from her perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and that's so good. And the scenes like there's a scene where she meets an old friend from school for dinner, which doesn't have
Ah,
much
yeah.
impact on the plot, but is really, really she plays it so well, and it's such an
Yeah.
awkward meeting, and that's really well
Yeah.
done. And she's just great in that movie. So I think I would put her performance in Fargo as my favorite.
Mm.
Then it's tighter between the other two, but I'd possibly, just because again it's more the sort of performance and film that I watch, I'd put her performance in Three Billboards next,
Mm.
and then her performance in Nomadland. But they're all incredible performances. I'm not saying any. None of us are saying any of them are bad, but it's
No.
interesting to sort of see where we find ourselves aligned, if you see what I mean. Um, cool, good stuff.
Definitely. And I definitely want to check out Chloe Zhao's other films.
Yeah, she's made The
And
Rider
mm,
and one other one, I think, right?
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm
because
really
in China they were like praising her for winning, and she blew up on social media, and then the Chinese government were like, but she talked badly about us in The Rider, so no, we don't like Chloe Zhao. So she's got like completely all information about her kind of got censored.
yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah,
pity because
yeah.
like if once upon a time it would be understandable if countries censored things. It was old news, but now come on, everybody's got social media, they're going to find out about her, and the more open you are to criticism, the more people are not going to criticize you, China.
Hmm.
And all the countries, really. I'm not just talking about China, but I just find it really weird that they're still so I don't know.
It is an odd one, but she's great. Yeah, this film is brilliant. I definitely want to watch The Rider, and her other film is called Songs My Brothers Taught Me. And I'm really fascinated to see the Eternals and see how much of her style from this film survives going into a huge, massive, big budget blockbuster superhero movie with a big cast and yeah. But she put together the pitch for that film and sold herself to Marvel on it, and they loved it. So it sounds all positive. The Eternals is a weird thing, and I'm intrigued to see what that movie is going to look like. So yeah,
Mm.
it's going to be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. She seems like a good filmmaker.
Oh, she's definitely she's a strong filmmaker. Good for her. Good stuff, Chloe Zhao. Right. So we're positive on Nomadland. It's a good film. If you haven't watched
Definitely.
it yet, go on to Disney Plus or wherever it is in your country that you're in to watch it. Check it out. See what you think of Frances McDormand. Email us. Let us know what your opinions are. And
Yes, please.
yeah, and it's been a slightly different episode this week, slightly shorter, but a nice little
Yeah.
mini-sode to break up the month. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed it. Let us know if you'd like, how you feel about this episode. If you'd like more stuff like this, if
We're going to
you're,
try and do one of these every month at
yep,
the end of the month. So the
yep,
last episode of the month will be a special on films. We're going to talk a bit more about Oscar nomination in the next few weeks in the specials.
Yeah, which is great. So good
Yeah.
stuff. Next week,
Yeah.
our top 5 naughty films.
Naughty.
Yeah.
Oh, bam chicka wow
Yeah, exactly.
wow.
Our top 5 naughty films next week. Oh, I can't wait to do some research. Our top 5 naughties films.
Yeah.
Films that were released between the year 2000 and 2009.
What would be the films released between 2009 and 2010?
What do you mean?
20. So if it's a film from 2000 and 2009, what are the films from 2010 to 2020?
2010 to 2019. I mean,
19. What would that be?
I guess I don't think that there's been a consensus on what to call that decade yet, but maybe the teens,
The teens. And in which decade are we
teens,
in now?
the 20s.
Oh, we're back in the 20s. Okay.
Yeah. The 2020s, but yeah, the 20s.
The 2020s. Okay, so naughties. I'm excited. Good films in the naughties.
Oh god, some incredible pieces of work in the noughties. Yeah, gonna be fun to do research on those naughty films. Cool. Join us for that. Thank you so much for being with us. Go on to our social media channels to find recommendations and discussions around all sorts of different things, and get in touch over email to let us know your top 5 lists and your thoughts on anything. We'd love to hear from you. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and all other places that you can review podcasts. We would appreciate it. Help us get more listeners and to grow, which would be lovely. And see you next time. Thank you so much. I love you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.